10 years in the system. The university has a way of grading people that are recommended for that position because it's basically the Senate, the work of the Senate to do that. As a committee in the Senate, they do that. They look at your academic contributions in terms of research, in terms of mentorship, and in terms of contribution to the society. Okay, so they look at all that and they score that. If you meet the minimum requirement, you will get the university medal, gold medals. So, and in the Faculty of Science, where I am now, I will be the second person to have it, to be awarded. The first person was Professor Chiki Obi, who was awarded about 40 years ago. So, it's a good thing, which encourages people who are very serious with what they are doing and encourage them to give more inputs to the system. So those are the major three criteria they look at, and it's not cheap. That's why people are not getting it. So many.
That's amazing. I like the part where it says it's not cheap, which means that a lot of time, energy, and intentional work has been done over the years for you to acclimatize to such a title. Okay, Prof, can you tell us about yourself, your family, your upbringing, where you're from, and all through the journey to where you are now?
Well, thank you very much. I am from Oyo State, a town in Oyo North called Olaleru. Okay. That's where I received my primary and secondary education. And then from there, I moved on to University of Lagos here to get all my post-secondary education. So I'm fully homebred when it comes to educational uh, achievements. I mean, in terms of certificates and things like that. So my family, I just have only 6 children in my family. My wife is also a lecturer here at the University of Lagos. And I'm also, in addition to the academic career, I'm also a pastor or in Deeper Life Church, which I devote a lot of time to, in addition to the academy. As I've said, all my education are in Nigeria here, even though I've traveled to different countries for research or as a visiting professor or for lecturing or whichever. So I've done all that by God's grace. So I'm proudly Nigerian in full sense of it.
That's amazing, Prof. Yes, and we all are proud of you because we all are proudly Nigerian as well. Okay, so can you share with us some of your pivotal moments and challenges during your journey in terms of mathematics and outside mathematics, and how you overcame them? Because sometimes quite a number of people believe that being a mathematician, as long as you can, as long as there's a problem and you can solve a problem, everything about us evolves around the books, the divide the eggs, and it looks as if we are macho people. And of course, you have gotten to the climax and also moving on. But how did you overcome some of those pivotal moments in your life with those challenges?
Thank you very much. Well, I will just say it's God. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of it. I'm saying that because that is the truth. Without God's involvement in my journey, I won't be where I am now. Some people who are not in Africa, they may not appreciate the challenges we have uh, in African countries that makes us to talk about God, about God. If you are like me, you come from a polygamous family, and my mother is the last out of the four, and my mother's children are the youngest, and then the first to go to university education, to have university education, you will understand that it couldn't have been easy. Well, I finished my first degree. The first challenge I had with my career was how to do PhD in University of Lagos. Because in the University of Lagos here, we were welcomed by our old professors that nobody has been able to do masters once and make the GPA needed for PhD or for MPhil. They said nobody else. So that anybody who wants to do PhD must be prepared to do his master's twice and repeat it. Well, people like me, because I was young, I cannot be replying the elderly ones. So I just kept quiet. But I prayed that I will do my own once and I will break that record. And eventually, I did it once and I broke that record. So, and now a lot of people are doing it once now and they're able to move up. The second challenge I had was the PhD itself. Because unfortunately, at that time, they didn't believe that we can do PhD. And they are the one who taught us at the undergraduates. So we were made to doubt our ability. And I will not blame them too much, because in the University of Lagos here, within 17 years, only one person was able to get PhD within 17 years.
Wow.
So, and by the time we came in to do postgraduate, that person has become professor. So, and they felt that nobody can do it. But as God will have it, I prayed and I did a good work, hard work and things like that. And I made it. So everybody, all the lecturers in the department, they were unanimous that let Olaleru continue. And I was the only person that was permitted to continue. It was because of God. Now it came to the area of choosing supervisors. I had serious problem. The supervisor I first chose was a professor, an authority in number theory. So I started with him as a young man, and I put all my energy into it. But at the middle of the road, he just called me and said, Johnson, come. I was just starting with him. I just spent about 1 month. He said, come, Johnson, you can't do this program with me. I said, why, sir? He said, the work he did that he was doing needed some background, which I don't have. That's algebraic number theory. That is only in UI they do that course, but I'm not doing it. They are not doing it in unit like that. That is sorry. You will not be able to continue with me. I should choose another supervisor. I expected that he will offer to bring me up to that level where I can continue with that choice of number theory. So eventually I went to another professor, and that professor told me that, sorry, that is going on sabbatical, that he cannot supervise me. And that if he decided to supervise me, they will not allow him to go for sabbatical. He was in complex analysis. So eventually he said no. So at the end of the day, the only person left for me was a very sick professor, almost dying. He died along the way. He was almost dying. So when he heard of my travel, he said, okay, I should come. He will take me up. He was in functional analysis. So, but after I worked with him for about 2 years, he died. He passed on. So I had to, the university has to ask me to think of somebody who is working close to that area, and that person was in Uniben then. By the time I got to Uniben and I talked to the man just looked at my work. He said, all these things you have been doing, I'm not interested. If you want to work with me, you will have to do something totally new, totally different. I said, okay, can you give me what you want me to do? Then he listed about 10 problems. I think part of them are this millennial mathematics problem, which they have been battling with for hundreds of years. So I told him that, okay, you are giving me these problems of which I don't know the head or the tail. Can you guide me as to how to go about them, at least to jumpstart me? He just laughed. That was the end. He didn't do anything. So I just discovered that I have to set up on my own. So what I did was that I decided to come up with a research topic on my own, okay, which wasn't easy, but it's God that really helped me. So when I come up after some literature review, I decided on what I would do. Then I look at the materials that I read. I look at the references of those who were in that area who wrote papers. So what I did was that I wrote those people and told them that I'm thinking of working on an area close to what you have done. Can you give me the materials that you have so that I can start working on that? You know, that time there was no all this email and things like that. So I wrote Professor W.H. Sommer then in the US. He will have died by now. He graciously posted those materials to me. Everything that he had, posted it under 2 packages. And they were very helpful. So I just started studying the thing on my own. And unfortunately for me, my supervisor eventually picked interest in politics. So he didn't really have any time for me. So it wasn't an easy thing at all. At times, I would give him work to read for a whole year. He will not have the time to read it. So I just decided to supervise myself. And when I felt I was done, I prayed and I went to him. I said, Prof, sir, I finished my PhD, sir. He looked at me with concern. He said, you finished your PhD? I said, yes, I finished. I said, since you are very busy, I'm ready to face the external examiners, sir. So he looked at me. He said, okay, what's the thesis all about? I just told him I spent about 3 minutes to tell him. He said, okay. He just gave me a note. I wrote to my department here that he has finished my PhD. He has told me to just put something together. By the time I got to my chairman of postgraduate school, say, what do you mean? Finish with PhD? I said, I've finished. Can you see the letter? The letter says I've finished. He said, okay. Well, eventually, I was able to face the external examiners. And the external examiners were very, very positive. In fact, they told our VC, the person that eventually became VC then, that my thesis was so special that we should not underrate it at all. And I overcome that at the end of the day. And when it comes to promotion too, you know, there is this African kind of oppression when you are very much qualified for promotion and the professor will look at you and say, why are you in a hurry? You are a small boy. What's your problem? Even though they also got that position at that young age. So, but how did I overcome all that? It's just through prayer, because even though I said it briefly, it wasn't a brief experience when I
Yeah,
passed through. When I passed through.
I I
Yes.
I can imagine. Yep. Different people with different texture of challenge or challenges rather. Now, one of the participants actually asked a question, which I'm going to read out to you. It says that, why did you study mathematics? Of all courses on earth, what are the career prospects of mathematics students apart from academics? And because of other questions, I really wanted to answer that briefly.
Well, the issue is that when you talk of mathematics, mathematics has a lot of applications in different areas. Okay. For example, If you have a mathematics background and you go to study computer, you are better off than those without mathematics background. You can check up. So you'll be able to do better. In fact, many of the things they are doing now in computer science that has to do with programming and everything, it involves a lot of algebra and discrete mathematics. If you want to be a banker, there are a lot of mathematicians that want to study banking. And you will always discover they always excel there because of that, their computational background and knowledge. And even if you want to study law too, because one of the best lawyer in the world from UK studied mathematics in his first degree because the mathematics gave him a solid background for reasoning logically and things like that. So if you want to do mathematics, it doesn't mean that you have to go into teaching. You can branch into different areas you can think of, and you can be sure that you excel there. So it's always good if you do mathematics as your first degree before you branch to any field, whether you want to go to financial mathematics and work in the financial world, whether you want to cross over to engineering and get involved in engineering work, you can do that. There's one of my boy we discussed from US, we just discussed today. He studied mathematics, but now he's in engineering in US, engineering field, and he's working and he's making some money. So mathematics has a lot of prospects for you, and I will encourage you to go for it.
Yeah. So why did you study mathematics?
To me, why I studied it?
Yeah.
Well, it strikes from the secondary school. I decided to go for mathematics right from the secondary school. I could remember when I was in Form 4, when I was discussing with my principal, he sat me down and said, Johnson, it appears you are having problem with choice of subjects for your O level. I say, yes. And I say, okay, which profession do you want to be in? I say, I want to be a teacher. Oh, the man looked at me with concern. He said, look, what are you saying? I want my children to be engineers. I want them to be lawyers. I want them to be doctors. What makes you to say you want to be a teacher? I say, I love teaching and I want to be a teacher. So when I filled my JAMB, the first choice was mathematics science, no, mathematics education. The second choice was mathematics science. So I had love for it right from the beginning. It's not because I didn't have any choice. That's why I just picked that. No, I just love it. And if I'm to start all over again, I'm sure it's mathematics I will pick because it has been very beneficial to me. So I love it.
Okay.
It has helped in other areas. Yes.
Yep. So one of the questions from the audience is that, and I think this is absolutely directed to you.
Okay.
The person is asking, why are we not applying mathematics in the Nigerian industrial sector as others are doing abroad? What do you have to say to that?
Well, I think that's a good question that you should ask. Our experience here in Nigeria has shown that our level of understanding of the importance and application of mathematics is very low. And I think it's general in Africa. One, we have to blame the government for it because we're having many people in government that are just, will I say, semi-literate when it comes to the importance and the impact of academics in national development. That one is there. And those who are even literate, by the time they get there, they look at the other side of the coin. Then number two, those of us who are mathematicians, we have not done enough to connect the GAM with the TAM. And the time has come now that we should start doing that. You see, we started the Association of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization. I was the founding president. And one of the main reasons why we started that is to connect the GAM and the TAM. And that's why it is an interdisciplinary association. It involves people from engineering, from business administration, and things like that. And that's the main reason why we started it, to promote interdisciplinary research. So I think one, I will strongly suggest when people are doing their PhD, they should put application in mind, especially those who are working in applied mathematics. Application should be a major aspect. It shouldn't just be theoretical alone. They should think of application. And then once we start from there, and the person who finishes PhD is a little biased towards application, he will be able to go to the industry and get their problems solved and attacked. But if all we do in our PhD is just academic mathematics research without thinking of application, then it will be very, very difficult. So
But that,
then you also consider what we experience here. There's no funding for some of these things, unlike what we have in abroad. So you discover that even the people that are into application here that get research funding, they get it from abroad, not even from Nigeria. So it shows that people have not been able to appreciate what we are doing. So it's our duty to sell it. If you have a market, you must think of ways for which you can market your product. So you have to go out
okay,
to the industry and invite them to see what you are doing too.
yeah.
Yes.
Um, with what you've said, there's a question with regards to that, but that will be towards the end. So if you have any question, please, I will give the opportunity to ask the question. Now, there's a very important question directed to you here. It says, is the study of mathematics to PhD level still economically attractive in Nigeria? If not, what can be done to improve it?
Well, when you say of economic attraction, it depends. Okay, it's unfortunate we're having a situation now in Nigeria that makes you to ask that question, and you are aware of the problem. That's why you are asking the question. So, but I just feel that if you want to be a mathematician, be a good mathematician. Because if you are a good mathematician, you will be able to attract research grants from outside the country. Because a lot of people that are enjoying their research career now, they are good experts in the area. They are not half-baked academicians. They are those people that their research work is recognized outside. And when they apply for research grants and they look at their CV, they look at their publications, easily they get research grants. And when you have research grants, don't rate yourself as other lecturers. You are a little bit more comfortable. You will even be able to travel abroad from the research grants and get a lot of income. So it's better just while we are waiting for the government to look at our side, you also develop yourself and have a very good, solid background that can compete with people outside the country. And you find it good.
Yeah. So, okay, Prof. Now that, of course, you're a golden professor, you've gotten to the heights. So, what are your contributions in terms of creating the pathway for younger ones to attract some of these things like this funding? Okay, I think I know of one professor, that Professor Emmanuel Bakari, who was able to
Yeah.
attract a huge fund like that all the way from. But you are well known. So uh what would you call your impact in creating that pathway for upcoming mathematicians? Because now we have to sell mathematics in such a
Yes.
way that it's beyond the four walls of the classroom.
Mm,
If I
mm.
cannot, I think ever since COVID happened, COVID has actually made people to see that mathematics have a say when it comes to pandemic. Like, so we used mathematics to model infectious disease, the
Yeah,
transmission
model it. Yeah.
and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so you find out that, truthfully speaking, a lot of pure mathematicians are actually running towards that aspect. So I'm asking you two questions now. One, with your status, what will you do to create such a pathway? Two, now that we have many pure mathematicians running to applied. What's your thought about that?
So, sorry, that your second question, I couldn't hear it well. There was network problem.
Okay, so I'm
That
saying that,
second
yeah,
question.
now that we have numerous pure mathematicians running to applied,
Yeah.
that's just because they can see what they are doing. Of course, for example, if you talk about malaria, there's nobody that has not experienced malaria in Nigeria because it's endemic. It's part of, I wouldn't want to say it's part of our structure, but you can
Mhm.
touch it, things like that. Societal issues, guys are coming up with respect using mathematics to form policy recommendation. So now that
Yeah.
your guys are going in that direction and you are completely pure, what do you have to say with respect to that?
Oh, thank you very much. Now, when you talk about my contributions generally, I am, let me praise myself. I'm good in mentoring. Okay. That's why uh, within 17 years, University of Lagos in the Department of Mathematics, they could produce one PhD. And within 15 years, I could produce 16 PhD. Now, that wasn't a joke because you are dealing with people that even though they want to study, but they have some other problem with background, good background, and they have problems with distractions here and there. So to be able to bring them together and assist them to get their research done is never a joke. So I do that. Then in addition, we just think of the association I just mentioned now. The way we work with this association is different from other associations. Generally, we have empowerment period every month. And that empowerment period, we bring people together from different disciplines and we bring experts from local and abroad to come and bring them up to a good research level and to update and upgrade their knowledge. So through that, we have brought a lot of renowned, world-renowned professors to join us, and they have been of benefit to people. This year we just did one, of which we have about 150 participants from different countries and from Nigeria. And the students and the participants, including lecturers, they were able to enjoy that mentorship program. Another thing I do is I pioneered the takeoff of this journal, International Journal of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization. And what we do there is a little bit strange uh, in that what we do there is that we ask people to submit their papers. And when they submit, normally we send it to reviewers. A good number of the reviewers are not even in the country, they are from abroad. Now, but we have a policy that we want all the reviewers to be patient with us and to continue to allow these authors to correct the papers until it suits the reviewers. So it's not a matter of you submit your paper, there are problems with the paper, and the reviewer will just reject the paper and say, this paper is this. We expect the reviewers to pinpoint issues that they are having with the paper and outline them. And then we send it to the authors and then ask them to go over and make corrections. So if it is 4 times, 5 times that they will have to go through the process until the assessor, the assessor is satisfied, they have to do that. So unfortunately, our assessor agreed with us that to mentor some of our young ones in how to write good paper, we need to be patient with them. So that's what we did, and we have been of help to many people without compromising the standard at all. So now, on the issue of the second question, let me go to that quickly on the issue of pure mathematics. Well, um, what people understand very well, those who are outside the mathematics community, is what they call applied. I could remember when I went for my professorial interview, the person interviews said that, how do you explain to a market woman about this thing you are doing, this pure mathematics research you are doing? But you see, the question is, I'm not doing PhD research because of market women. I'm not doing that for them. My first degree is enough for market women. So to ask me to explain what convexity, to ask what compartments, we can do that, but it's not meant for them, really. So one, if you look at pure mathematics forms the theoretical background of some of virtually all applied mathematics we are talking about. If there is no pure mathematics, applied mathematics cannot stand. Applied mathematics is based on the assumption that there is a mathematics already on ground, and you are just applying. So without the pure mathematics, there will be a problem. Now, if you look at complex analysis, for example, when the person who discover I, square root of -1, discovered it, he called it fictitious number, and he called it a useless number because it was pure. People were not talking of application. But some few years ago, we can now talk of applications of complex analysis in control theory and in different, in physics, in different areas. But at the time it was discovered, at the time the whole thing started, the whole thing looked as just mysterious mathematics, so to say. So the issue is that a good number of many things we do now in pure mathematics may not appear to be applied now, but later it will be. Think, for example, of the numerical theory we are talking about. When the whole thing started, it was purely theoretical. You are talking of xn plus y raised to power n is equal to 2. And you are wondering that if anybody can get that, he will get $1 million or whichever. And you look at it, you just say, look, this is a useless thing. Why are you wasting your energy on this kind of thing that has no application? But now we discover that thousands of years after, the new computer age we are dealing with now is based on this number theory that was useless at that time, that appears it has no application at all. So what we do in mathematics prepare ground for further mathematical breakthrough. Even when you look at Einstein, in mathematics he used to revolutionize the world was developed 50 years before that time, and at that time it didn't have any application. But as researchers continue, they discovered that this thing that appeared to be totally abstract is needed for scientific and technological breakthrough. So, well, for those who understand the importance of pure maths, they attach a lot of value to it. That's why you have Abel's prize. Abel's prize generally for all these pure mathematics. That's why you have these 10 millennial mathematics questions, where $1 million is attached to each one of them. Most of them are pure mathematics that you wonder why they waste a lot of time on, but they know the importance that it will be useful later. It's a way of preparing the world for future breakthrough in technology and science. So that's where we are as pure mathematicians. So I want to encourage that those who love it should get into it and put in their best. If it is not rewarded here, it will be rewarded outside the country, and you'll be happy for doing it.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you a question outside mathematics now, but there is one recommendation from one of the participants because we asked them what are the kind of questions they want to ask from you. So number one of the recommendations was that somebody said, I would like him to use a status to attract more funding opportunities for postgraduate students. And I think they're looking forward to that. Okay, so that's one. Now, apart from the whole mathematics things and like, what do you do for fun? Apart from maths, apart from church, what do you do for fun?
Well, already you have cornered me and you say apart from church. I'm just wondering what I do for fun apart from church. If you look at Newton, for example, even though I'm not comparing myself with him, what you know him for is mathematics and theology. And you look at a good number of his writing. He wrote a lot about hermeneutics, how to interpret the Bible and things like that, and excel in that. I must confess to you that I'm a one-way man. Okay, so after mathematics is pastoral work, and the pastoral work is demanding. I read the Bible a lot. Okay, at least every day I must spend about 3 hours on the Bible every day without talking. And then preaching appointments, another work connected to pastoral life is there. So I don't really have time for fun. Let me just say that I don't have time.
So what will you tell upcoming mathematicians with respect to life outside mathematics?
Well, they just have a choice because everything is not academics. Everything is not research. You have to think of how you will profit your society, where you are, where you find yourself. And that's why when they are talking of promotion, even to professorial, they look at your contribution to knowledge. They also look at people you have trained, and they look at the contribution to the society. So as a mathematician, you are not expected to just be thinking of mathematics alone. Think of how to influence the world around you and assist people and help them in whatever they are doing. So you should be able to do that. And it's left to individuals to think of what to do. I'm not opposed to fun, really, but if you have the time, fine. But there are some things that you enjoy doing more than fun. You go
Yeah.
into fun because you enjoy doing it, but there are other things you enjoy that is not fun.
Okay.
You know the
So, do you have hobbies?
I don't have.
Okay. And so which means you don't watch movies?
I don't have the time. If you come to my house, you will see this, you call it television box there. I don't know
Yeah.
when I opened it last. I don't know how many years I opened it last.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, ask Atangana too now. You know that
Yeah.
Atangana is like that too. He's
Yeah.
telling you that
Well,
it's only during break period, during holiday that he go for conference or minus that.
yeah. Okay. Like
Mathematics takes a lot from you.
I've interviewed
It,
Atagana. I think for the Pioneer
yeah,
space, Atagana was the first guy. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
Pardon me, sorry, first guy. And I think quite a number of people saw Professor Atagana outside Caputo, Fabrizio, and I was like, okay, at least it catches fun. Maybe when he goes on conferences or sometimes within his folks. I think the only question I didn't ask him that I asked you is what are his hobbies? Um, if I'm to bring him back, I would ask him that. I would ask him that question. Now, what are his?
Is my good friend, and he gives a lot to his academics. I
Yeah,
understand from him that the time he asks for relaxation is mainly when he go for conferences.
yeah, exactly.
And there he relax very. Actually, well, if you want to be a good mathematician, at your initial stage, you need to devote time to serious research. And that one will affect some other things in your life. So it's normally
So,
expected.
with what you've said now, Prof, are you saying that this is within the African context, or it's a postulation generally around the world?
Ah, I think it's general, the way I see it. I think it's general. If you look at people that have made serious marks in mathematics research and you question them, you discover that they devote a lot of their time. I could remember Professor Shulani that was also talking that when he finished his PhD like this, his research and nothing else. The lock is done. and he's doing, and he was able to make a big breakthrough. Now, the world of knowledge is so vast now that if you don't fully concentrate to come out with something new and significant, it's not really a joke at all. This time. So this is not to say people should not relax, but it's relaxed time for fun should be minimal. That's my own recommendation. When they go
Oh,
for conferences, that's time for fun and some little break.
okay. So which
Yes,
would, I'm going to ask you the last question, then I open the floor. So how do you
yes,
balance, uh, okay, one of the trainings I got from Prof. Shatalov during my PhD was
yes.
that as much as mathematics is important, you'll find out that people who actually broke through in mathematics actually sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, they get those ideas and break through in those ideas whenever they're having barbecue, you know, doing stay and some other time. Well, he's a Russian, of course, and you know how the
Yeah.
heights of mathematics is to the Russians. And it was just
Hmm.
like, see, sometimes go on holidays. During your time on the holiday, you get refreshed, your brain is intact,
Yeah.
and you get some
Yeah.
of these ideas like that. But
Yes.
it's
Yes.
a bit different from the African context because in Africa, uh, fun is not maybe nowadays, which it has been incorporated because we have the older generation and the new generation. But fun is very interesting. So this is why I'm going to ask you a question. There's a question he always asks me is that the Jimmy, make sure you have time for your family. You don't do
Yes.
research and lose the family. And we know you can't
Hmm.
always be serious with the family. So, Prof, as a golden professor over the years, so how do you balance mathematics and the family?
Well, let me also just comment about people that got research problems through what they see in barbecue or whichever. You will agree with me that those people, even when they get to barbecue, they are thinking of mathematics mentally,
Yeah,
and
but
that's why they
when they're within,
that's why they come up with that. So it's now in Africa, unfortunately, we don't give ourselves sufficient time for fun because you discover that when you finish the session, the part-time students are coming in during the holiday period, and rather than going to rest, you want to teach the part-time students because you know your salary cannot carry you. You will get little money from that. So we are always tensed up doing one thing or the other. But it's a good idea for those who do for now. My own aspect is that while I'm doing spiritual things, fun is also involved. It's incorporated into it. If you go for evangelism, you go and meet people, discuss with them and laugh and pray with them. Fun is involved. So if you go for prayer meeting, you jump and do a lot of things and shout. So a little bit fun is involved too. So we have a way of incorporating fun into the whole thing. So, but the question you asked, can you just remind me
how do you
the question? Oh,
balance?
that's family. You mentioned family life, Abby. Okay.
Yes,
Well, yes. Fortunately, uh, my six children are doing well by God's grace, and
awesome,
I will give the main credit to my wife because
awesome.
my wife was very much available. We didn't plan it that way, but God just did it. That the first few years she was very much available and was able to help the children and give them the basic things they need to be well behaved in life. And fortunately, the church I go to, they don't play with children education. So at least 3 times in a week, they have classes for children where they bring them up and things like that. So that really helped a lot. Now that those children are grown up, my wife is busy with academics, so she will soon be an associate professor in her field. She's in South Africa now for a conference. She has been
Oh,
she's association president for three associations that she's doing. So she is doing fine. So I think God just did it that we were able to take care of the children, and they are doing fine. We don't have regret on any.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And some people are saying that are you available for mentoring? How can they reach out to you? How can they get to know you more, especially for mentoring?
Well, mentoring is my hobby. Let me use your language. Mentoring is my hobby. It's
All
my
right.
fun. So I like it. I enjoy it. So anybody who need mentoring, of course, not financial mentoring anyway. So anybody, anybody who need mentoring can get my email, can get my phone number, I said WhatsApp or whichever. So
Okay.
once you stop doing some of these things, you begin to die. So I don't see anybody who wants to remain sharp and useful in the society to stop or suspend this kind of mentoring we're talking about.
And
It's
also,
what
are
makes.
you available for collaboration? I think that should be the last question from here. Are you also
Yes,
available for collaboration?
well, if you see a researcher that says he's not interested in collaboration, then there should be some issues he's battling with. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so guys, if you have any question for Prof, now you can direct your question. Just signify, then I will call your name and unmute you. Then you can ask the question. So you have ask a question, please. Does anybody have any question for the professor?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. That's
yes, I can hear you.
My name is Faithful Onwebuche. I've been following the prof for a long time now, so it's really a great thing to finally get to hear from Professor Johnson. I've been following you for a long time on LinkedIn, and I'm really amazed at
Oh,
your accomplishments. It really inspires me. I think I got to know you when I learned of Dr. Prey's accomplishment in 2014, where he graduated as the best student, and he was the youngest PhD graduate at the time in Nigeria. So I think that was when I got to know you, and then I was in my final year, which I gracefully finished that time with a first class. So it was an inspiring time for me. It really to pursue further studies, and currently I'm doing my PhD in University College Dublin. So just to use that
Okay.
background to say thank you for the work you do, even from the PhD students you've had, the stories from it has inspired a lot of people that you've not even met, that you've not even met physically, but it's really been inspiring, and also your work with God has also been inspiring. So I'm going to come on video now, and then I'll ask my question. So my question, Prof, sir, is around because I've noticed when I was in mathematics. Now I'm in computer science. I switched to computer science, but when I was in mathematics, I've noticed that we do not have a Fields medalist, a Bill medalist in Africa. And it is a concern to me. How can we have the Next Einstein initiative, which is good, but how can we in Africa, develop ourselves to a point whereby our research is recognized and given a Fields medal, an Abel medal, and things like that?
Well, thank you very much. I could remember that Professor Chike Obi was given a medal in ICTP, that's International Center for Theoretical Physics, and few people. Well, it's a challenge you are throwing because you will discover that those who got the field medal they are able to concentrate. It's not because they are more intelligent than we do. That's not the case, okay? I would say majorly one, they have the background, good background, solid background for their research. And then number two, they're able to concentrate and they were well motivated, okay? Which is really not the case in Nigeria here. So what you are throwing around is just a challenge that people should set up, and so that Africa will not continue to be follow people, because nowadays all we do is just to follow. We are not creative in Africa. We don't come up with ideas. So if they talk of Scopus, we don't think of our own. What can we have as a substitute for Scopus? We don't think about that. We only just align with them and look for money to just to get to match up with them. When they are talking of web ranking, we cannot devise our own that suit our own. So I know that there was a time when you see try to do web ranking, and at the end of the day, there were a lot of problems. We couldn't use it. They didn't do a thorough job. So I just wonder, why can't we just sit down and get something done our own that will compete with elsewhere? So that's a challenge to us. That there are people who can win the best prize, that can win all this, but because of the environment. So I would suggest strongly for somebody who is well motivated, he should have collaborations with those who are real experts in the field. That collaboration is very important. The person should not be a localized researcher. He should look for top researchers that are in the field. Because just like Newton said, that you have to climb up the shoulder of giants. Okay, so when you know those who are giants, you move closer to them and see how to collaborate with them. You don't just go to those who are not as knowledgeable as you do. Work with those who are far knowledgeable. And when you impress them, a lot of things will be possible. There can be joint medal award or whichever.
Hey,
yes.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nurat Holamide, my apologies if I didn't get the name correctly. You can ask a question.
Good evening to the host, and good evening to our golden professor.
How are you, Dr. Nurat? You are welcome.
Oh, my apologies,
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Nurat.
Sir, my own area of concern is this your field of number theory. Some of us that were not.
I'm not in number theory. I'm in analysis. But I wanted to do PhD in number theory, but my supervisor denied continue with me. Yes.
Okay. But all the same, can I still ask my question on that number theory?
Yes. Thank you.
For those of us in the classroom,
yes,
I realize that it's not so easy to impact the knowledge related to number theory, group theory, and all this to students. And our students most of the time will ask you, where do we apply this? So my question now is, how do we make it seamlessly teaching those aspects of mathematics? And then when that question is thrown to us, where do we apply this? What is supposed to be our response? Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I think application is a motivation to study mathematics for many. And it should not just be at the research stage or in the university, right from the secondary school. If you are a good teacher in the secondary school, one way of motivating the students is if you want to teach any topic, you can mention in passing where those topics are being applied. It's not that you will show them the application, because that one will be beyond the background they have. But just mere telling them that if you want to talk of geometry, it's applied here, it's applied, it's applicable, they use it in this area, they use it in this area. As you read further, you'll be able to do it yourself, that kind of thing. It will be a good motivation. Then number two, at the university level, we should strive to make people to understand. I remember in the secondary school where the teachers make things deliberately difficult for students. Like somebody wanted to teach lizard, and he came to the class and pocketed and said, today we are looking at a gamma. And the students say, he started the whole thing in a difficult way. So why can't he say, today we are going to study lizard? So I think the teachers also must be willing to come down to people's level. So if you go online now, there's no mathematics area that will check for the applications, and you will not see many of them. Even when you talk of number theory, they use it in this cryptography, they use it in different areas. The people in computer science, as I mentioned, they use it a lot because it has to do with number and things like that. Discrete mathematics is also a little bit an aspect of numerical. So we can just go online and Google applications of number theory, okay? Then you will see it coming out. And by the time you want to start your class and you tell the students, you don't have to show them how it is applied because they may not have the background, but let them just have an idea that this thing you are teaching them is being used in other areas. And it will make some of them to sit up and pick interest in learning those things. I don't know whether I've answered you.
Okay, Prof. Dr. Nurat, I'm sure Prof has answered it correctly. Richard, you can ask a question.
Okay, good day, everyone.
Yeah.
Prof, good day, sir. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take a cue from I think the first speaker, and really appreciate you. Right, I think I first got to encounter you at the STMC at Port Harcourt, where you took Christology, and ever since I've just been, fascinated by you and your work. Okay, so I've been away from the academia. By being away from the academia, I mean being in the classroom, right, where I am actually the student, right. I've been away from the academia for close to 7 years, right. So after my first degree, I got into teaching, and I'm currently in tech, right, as an Azure DevOps engineer. But I don't want to just be streamlined to just OEM solutions and the rest of them, right? I want to further my education in mathematical modeling, right? Where, as you mentioned, I can apply this to industrial solutions. I don't just want to be in the classroom, right? So I want to know the feasibility of that. Okay, of course, I know God, faith, and everything, but it's something I am keen on pursuing now. Let's say a direct PhD to the US, something like that. So I want to know what is the feasibility of it. Being a professor yourself, like if I'm to come in and you said everything about your education has been local. By local, I mean Nigeria. Even if you visited other countries, if I were to come be a tutor, sorry, not under your tutelage, sorry, would you consider me, right? Do I have a chance, okay, to get my PhD in applied mathematics, mathematical modeling, in any aspect, as far as tech is concerned? Yes, sir. That's my question.
Now, what is your first degree in what?
Mathematics, sir. Mathematics.
Oh, mathematics. Okay. Have you done masters in mathematics?
No, I haven't.
Okay, fine. So since you have your first degree in mathematics, it makes the job easy for you, because with your first degree, you are good to go for any course you want to do in mathematics. Once the interest is there, number one, and then you have the background. Okay, even if you don't have the background, if the interest is there, you can learn more and then get ready. So I don't see anything that is hindering you from moving forward. Now, don't underestimate what we do in Nigeria here. Okay, so if it is Nigeria that is open to you, you don't need to waste your time. Just move ahead. There are some institutions where mathematics department is very strong, and you can always go there. You mentioned the case of Federal University for Oye, University of Funye. Okay, so where you have experts in modeling. You talk of Uniben too. You have a professor is also an expert, and among the first 2% best scientists according to the Stanford rating. So you have them there. So if you want to do modeling, you go to such places and you will meet experts that can give you whatever you need and compete with outsiders. But I will advise you, because when you are doing modeling, you must know some other areas, because the thing you may be modeling may be disease. So you're expected to know biological sciences and some other things. So I will advise that even though you want to go for modeling, go for a broad-based master's that will give you background in different field of mathematics to start with, okay? Once you do that, you have a good master's, then if you now want to specialize in modeling, it becomes easier for you to handle. And if it's abroad you want to go, fine, you are good to go. So the only thing is that you must have the sponsorship. So it's open. I did all my education here, and I think I can compete with many people outside the land, and I'm known. So you can always develop yourself, regardless of which country you find yourself. And this is an age of internet where you can get materials easily.
Absolutely.
You can attend conferences, workshops. Yes, so you can. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yes, sir, you have. Although I was locked out because of the network, but I believe I'll get the recording and go through the better part I made. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. It's okay. There's a very particular question. I think I'll just answer this. The person is saying, are we going to be taught how to apply mathematics in real life situations in the university? How does calculus, algebra, where does it fit in? Very simple. Go online, look at application of mathematics to real life situation. You will see tons on tons of information. Look for the one that resonates with you and develop interest in it. With that, you are good to go. Okay, Prof. Thank you very much for, number one, yielding to our call. Number two, keeping tabs, because I knew we actually booked you for a very long time for this day, and you were keeping tabs on us and all about that. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to call on Dr. Coyote to appreciate you and round up for us. Dr. K.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jimmy. Professor Olaleru, thank you so much for taking out time to attend this chat. We appreciate all the experiences you have shared with us, and we are hoping that attendees we'll be able to collaborate with you in future, and also we'll be able to still mentor